human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it.
Hello, ladies and gentlefish. Hello, how are we all doing? I hope you are well. I hope everything is going good for you. You're having a good day, slash night, slash morning, slash whatever it is for you. Oh, we should update our vibe check. Pardon? Vibe check. Vibe's at 30. Alright, fair enough. Let's update that. Hope you're all doing better than a 30. I'm doing pretty well today, actually. I've post the decision to quit teaching. Everything's been pretty chill and pretty nice, which has been good. Very happy about that. So that's exciting. I'm gonna focus on just being an artist, just getting the tattooing, off the ground and doing all those sorts of things. And being a house husband, just focusing on the house. I built a table today for my lovely Lucy Bell.
Hello. Sorry, I wasn't listening.
That's fine. You don't have to listen.
Didn't know if you were talking to me or about me.
I was talking about you.
Oh, that's alright. Hello.
She's there in the background. She's just watching ghost videos, so she'll be distracted. We're going to be doing some art today. We're continuing on with our mushroom tattoo design things. So I'll show off what we did last art stream. So these were the ones that we did. I did some of these, most of this earlier, kind of cheekily, but that's kind of how these streams go sometimes. I'd try and start off with at least something planned out and designed for our art streams, because I don't want you to sit through the planning stage and the very beginning stages, because they can be a little bit dull. So this is what we did. I had some of this done and some of this done, and then we just kind of added to them a bit more shading, a bit more coloration on the realism one. So we had a black and grey realism, and then we had our colour realism, our soft colour realism. No outlines, which was on purpose. So we're really good. We're really happy about those. We then moved on to doing these two pieces. We had our... this is like American traditional style, and then we've got this kind of more outsider art, ignorant style piece. This one turned out really well. I'm really happy with this. I'm going to saturate the colours a bit better. And then once I've saturated the colours a bit better, I'm going to look at turning this into a print. Probably not this exact design, though I do quite like how this one turned out, so this might become like a t-shirt print or something. But I'd like to make a bigger one that's kind of a little bit more like A5 and really fill out the full page, and then do like a light border as opposed to a quiet border. Leilani will get that tattooed on it. Yes! This one is specifically set aside for Leilani to be tattooed. So only she will get to be tattooed this one. And then the other design, obviously, will be open to other people. We're continuing on. We're going to do our next lot of stuff. Just put this down so that I don't ruin the next page. Working on my little tattoo box here. Okay. Cool. So, as you can see, probably just... I don't know if I can... Oh, no. Didn't want to turn that all the way up. Just trying to,
Do you want my lamp?
No, it's good.
I'm not using it.
No, it's good. You can see.
It worked out so well last time.
That's right. You're using your phone.
I'm really not. Mom.
It's fine. You're using your phone. It would take a while to set up. Well, it's...
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
You sure?
Yeah.
You know, it's always there for you.
Yes, I might steal it later.
difficult when I'm not using it.
You can't see the art. It's right there. It's also right here. and there. And then down here. So, there's very, very light designs. You can see I've very, very lightly roughed out what we're going to be doing for these next two, and then I have ideas for two more, or three more technically, but two more that I want to get done. So we're going to try and get at least probably 3 done today, but we'll see. And then the fourth one, I don't know, maybe I'll start off stream or something, but we're going to see... Where are you? I'm right here. Yeah, so the first one we're going to be doing is Surrealist. We're basically taking that same mushroom design and we're going to like merge it with, I'm thinking like a squiddy octopus kind of deal. Just basically tentacles and fleshy monstrosities. Just to make it a little bit wild and out there. I was going to do the psychedelic first, but I've already done a psychedelic design with a mushroom. And I think if I'm going to do it again, I need to do it differently to how I did it last time. So I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to approach that. I have an idea that I think will make it work, but I just want to mull it over in my head just a little bit more, give it a little bit more time to percolate, and turn into something awesome. Second design we're going to do is over here. It's going to be a like Gothica, witchy style blackwork piece. This one is similar to some of the ones I've done previously, but a little bit more turned up on the like hardline black work style stuff. So we'll play around with that as an idea. I'm not sure exactly how that one's gonna look, but I have the rough sort of gesture put out so far. It's gonna have a little bit of leaf work. I'm thinking a little bit of ivy kind of creeping up through and around. So we'll play around with that and see what happens. The next two after that are going to be a pin-up piece. So I'm going to do one of my sexy mushrooms. So we'll have a play around with that. I've got a couple of ideas for poses in mind, but we're gonna see. And that one might get a little spicy. So that's probably going to be towards the end of the stream, and we'll see how we go. Hopefully we don't get pinged. And then the fourth design I had in mind, which I'm not sure that we'll have time to do, but also not sure if I, want to go ahead with it or not. I was thinking of either doing the psychedelic design, which I'm still kind of trying to let percolate a little bit, or I was going to do like a fine line tarot set. So basically do a card or a couple of cards of like this same mushroom in a few different styles of tarot. So that's a possibility for the next one. But we'll see how we want to do it. The tarot, I think, is going to be a good one, but it leans very closely to the kind of black work, the Gothica, because it's not traditional Gothic art. It's specifically like witchy Gothica. So we'll look at that. We'll see if that's a thing, but it might be too close to stuff we've already done. I'm trying to do a diverse range of things, but tarot and card design stuff is something that is done pretty regularly, so, tattoo art staple. So we're going to get started on this. If I have to suddenly jump up and leave for any reason, my IBS is playing up today, so I might have to suddenly run, and that's why. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good day. Let's get into the art. We are listening to Epidemic Sounds. We're currently listening to Can You Dig It? Which is a 1960s style rock interpretation. Let's get in there. So, I am kind of supposed to be trying to follow the original design. Because the idea is these are all based off the one mushroom. One particular mushroom. So I am trying to kind of make them similar enough that you can tell that it's all the same one mushroom. whilst also giving each of them their kind of own unique flair. So we're gonna play around with that. We're gonna see if we can. Oh yeah, this has got a really kind of like acid rock feel to it, doesn't it? It's probably good for the surrealism. So for those who don't know, surrealism is the like blending of reality with unreal elements. Surrealism tends to be around the idea of like absurdity, which is taking something that's like logical or real and blending it with things that are entirely unreal. Thank you for the follow, the real pickle 222. 2? Did I do 3 2s there? I don't remember. 222. How you doing? What brings you to the channel? I don't know if this is being washed out too much here. I kind of see it a little bit. I'll just turn the autofocus off, because every time this happens, it annoys the crap out of me. Autofocus, and then we want to turn it down to like 27. Cool. You're just browsing, you want to see what's up? Very cool, thank you for joining us. Yeah, we're doing some artwork, some tattoo style designs, some tattoo designs that I will be turning into actual tattoos. So I will be, well, actual tattoo designs. They will be tattooed onto fake skin rather than real people. They'll eventually be tattooed on real people, but in the meantime, while I'm still working out the kinks in the design, they're going to be tattooed. And we're just planning them out at the moment. So we're doing a couple of designs. They're all based on mushrooms. They're all based on this one particular mushroom. So I will show you what that particular mushroom is. So these are ones we've done previously. And here is the mushroom in question. Kiki tattoos. Yeah, so this one here is the mushroom in question. It's a lovely Anemita muscaria. A magic mushroom. So we're just doing a few different designs in different styles. We're going to try and do as many different styles as possible. Today we're going to try and do probably 3, and moving forward from there. So yeah, surrealism. It's all about taking the real and turning it into things that are unreal. Some good examples are like Dali. Picasso does a little bit of kind of surrealist stuff. Magritte. Who else is a good example? I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot of really good like surrealist artists. And surrealism is quite fun. I enjoy surrealism as a concept. You can do a lot of fun things with surrealism. So the idea, the plan that we've got for this one in particular is we're taking the cap of the mushroom. So the top cap here is going to be the same as the regular mushroom. Then we're going to put a lovely eye in the center here. Then we've got these kind of frills that I'm taking off like a jellyfish. I should probably shift myself over a little bit so you can see me. Like jellyfish frills down here, and then from the stem, the stem of the mushroom itself, we're then gonna extend that out into tentacles, kind of octopus, squid-like tentacles. So that's the plan. I wish jellyfish. Love that idea. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear people are on board. That's always encouraging to know that people like the ideas. This mushroom definitely comes from Pixie La La Land. Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, it's going to be very Pixie La La Land. Oh, Lizzie Bell, thank you very much for gifting a sub to The Real Pickle. You're a bit of a noggin.
I don't know what you mean.
That is my lovely Lizzie Bell in the background there.
Hi.
Gifting people subscriptions to my stream.
Your stream is good. It deserves subscriptions. That's why I love you.
Oh, I love you. It's Willy Wonka's side business. Yep. That's it. Just making surreal monstrosities. Yeah, so mentioning the kinky tattoo thing, Cog, actually, got me thinking the other day, and I was, like, for a moment, I was a little kind of unsure and worried about the whole thing. The idea that, like, if I was making, you know, pin-ups and kinky tattoos and stuff like that, that some people might be uncomfortable with that, because I am a masculine presenting figure. And in the end, I just decided, well, it'll be about the presentation and the intention. So if I'm doing it with an appreciation of the art side of it, then whoever ends up getting the tattoo, then it will be fine. But there was a short moment of me being like, oh no, like is this something that I should engage with? Because I do a bit of pin-up work and like, you know, my sexy mushrooms and things like that as designs. And every now and then I do kind of stop and have to wonder whether or not people are going to be like, how do I feel about this? Turn the exposure down just a little so that you guys can see better. What'd you miss? You went AFK for a moment. What got me thinking? You mentioned kinky tattoos, and I was thinking about my sexy mushrooms and whether or not I would tattoo them on people, and then how far I would take those pin-up sexy mushrooms. Yes, sexy mushrooms. Down in the About Me section, there's a link to my Patreon, to my Ko-fi, and to my Instagram. If you click on the Instagram, that will have some examples of my sexy mushrooms. If you click on the Ko-fi and the Patreon, there'll be other examples of sexy mushrooms. So a range of things. If you go to the Instagram, you might have to scroll a little down to get to them, because I do them for Funguri in February, and I do them like random times through the year. So. But yeah, I've done some that are a lot more risque than I have otherwise posted places, and so I wanted to be careful of how sexy and how like kink focused I made them, because I have seen artists do some really good tattoo designs that are like pin-ups in bondage and pin-ups in like quite risque positions and wearing like lingerie and things like that, and those are really cool and I really like them as an idea, but I like them kind of like artistically, and I think the kind of people who would get them tattooed, there's sort of like two categories of people. One of them would be kind of creepy guys, which is like, that's fine if they want that on their body, you know, they're adults, it's their choice, perfectly reasonable. And then there are the, like, you know, empowered lady types who would be like, this is, you know, I vibe with this and this is very cool. But I have a feeling those types of people wouldn't necessarily want to be tattooed that kind of stuff by someone who looks like me. Unless I really built up a vibe of being like open and a safe environment, and that it's about the art and it's not about the kind of, you know, creepy, leery, sexy stuff. So I think it's a fine line to draw, and I'm going to have to figure out exactly how I want to do that, and if I want to do that. I think I do, because... yeah, exactly. A sexy mushroom tied up would be awesome. I would be super pro that. I actually think it would be really funny to do just a regular mushroom, like a standard mushroom, but like with tiny bondage gear on. I think that would be really funny. Maybe that's something we'll do for one of these designs, actually, because we're going to continue on with this same mushroom for a bit. So maybe I will do that. I'm going to write that down as an idea, because that's very funny. Where's me papers? Bondage mush. Bondage pinup. Just so I remember for later. Regular mushroom in a bikini. We can do that. I'll put it on the list. Now I'm picturing a full set of vegetables in various different bondage outfits. Or like standard pin-up outfits. So like a little maid's dress, but it's like an eggplant. I'm an eggplant, am I? Yeah, so this is one of the things I had considered with this type of stuff, that if I can play them off as kind of amidst joke pieces and amidst things that like aren't just lewd, that potentially it will come across as being like, this is genuinely for the art and for the appreciation of the style, and it is about empowerment, but it's not about the sex necessarily. It's not ogling these things, it's enjoying it, appreciation. Oh. Is this a mushroom central channel? It is not entirely mushroom centered, but it is very heavily mushroom centered. I like mushrooms. Mushrooms are awesome. I don't know nearly enough about them, especially given how mushroom focused my art and my streams tend to be. But I love a good mushroom. Mushrooms are awesome. I also do a whole range of different things. As you can see up here, I do like lots of different styles of art. I do digital, traditional, I do tattooing, I do sculpture work. I've even been known to do photography and film and performance and all these kinds of things. So you know, wide range of focuses. Subject matter like realism, as you can see, yeah, basically anything you can think of artistically, I probably tried it at some point. And if not, I probably have an interest in doing it at some point. Yeah, there's very few things I haven't done in terms of art making, into either subject matter or practice, like some kind of physical practice. Yeah, which kind of comes a lot with academic training. So I did art at university, and I had a very like heavy art focus when I was younger, and even now. So, hey, magic mushrooms. How do I say that name? Aroneko? Is it Aroneko Arts? Or is it Aron Echo? I'm assuming Neko, as in cat. And then... Ero? Ero Neko? First time right. Okay, well, I'll be honest, I don't remember which one I said first. Yeah, so we're doing some mushroom work. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so we're drawing. This is like a surrealist, basically going to be a surrealist monstrosity of a mushroom, and then we're going to get back into some slightly more real. Aro Neko. Okay, yeah, cool, awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna do surrealism first, and then we're moving back into something a little bit more realistic. We're gonna do some Gothica, kind of like witchy style art, black and grey. Practice my heavy line work, which is something that I'm not particularly good with. I'll be honest. I'm a illustrative fine line artist. And so I'm struggling pretty heavily to do the like traditional, like American traditional, British traditional, European style, old school tattoo art. I'm really not that good at thick solid line stuff. And pop art, I'm not great at pop art. I can do the like photo manipulation, digital style stuff, but I'm not super good at like big blocks of color that are like all uniform, and then like thick, smooth lines, just because that's not how I draw or illustrate. So it comes across a little weirdly. But hey, we'll play around and see what we can come up with. I think we're gonna color this piece because the next one will be black and grey. So we'll go with a color piece here, and then we'll potentially potentially work on another one afterwards. We're going to try and get 3 artworks done today. See how we go for time. We might even get a 4th one. Hey, this stream is sponsored by Lizzie Bell. She's definitely human. My lovely Lizzie Bell in the background. She's been busy with work today, so she's a bit tired. She's around. Sending her love. I need to... Where's my eraser? I have this awesome... Here it is. I have this awesome electric eraser, which I really, really like. And then I have my standard, PVC-free rubber deal. But I'm really enjoying this electric rubber. It's basically like just a motor housing inside, and then it's got this rubber tip, which you can replace, and it just spins, which is cool. I like that. Self-care. Make sure you look after yourselves. Have something to eat, something to drink. I will hydrate myself. The Redbubble, which has the merchy things. So I'm currently wearing one of my merch designs at the moment. A lovely koi. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, in my art and my design, I also have an Instagram. There's a link down below. Eventually it'll come up in the stream, I'm sure. But yeah, if you want to see the other kind of stuff that I do, what I've been working on recently, you can check that out there. And let me know what you've been up to in the chat. What art things have you been doing? If anybody wants to show off anything in particular, feel free to chuck it in the chat. Instagrams, Discord links, that kind of stuff. We can do a little showcase just while we're chilling, just while we're vibing. It's a nice Wednesday. So we're just gonna have a chill night, I think. Nothing too heavy. we did our potentially breaking terms of service chat yesterday, so we'll avoid that one. The Real Pickle, you got into acrylic painting. Ooh, very nice. I do some acrylic work. I'm not super good at it. My painting is probably one of my weaker... like brush painting is probably one of my weaker techniques. But, you know, I enjoy it. It's good. If you've got anything you want to showcase, feel free to check it in the chat. You're totally the opposite. You loved doing art as a child, so you got this new art teacher when you were 12, who always told you it's trash and childish and not real art. Whatever that means, yeah. Art teachers are awful. As a former art teacher myself. He ripped apart your drawing. Oh my god. 13-year break. Jeez. I'm really sorry that happened. I became an art teacher. I became a high school art teacher out of spite. Purely out of spite. My art teacher was so bad and my school was so shit at handling their art department that I basically said to myself, after I finished my art degree, I was like, I'm going to go and get a teaching degree and I'm going to prove to them that I can be a better art teacher than anybody they had ever hired.
You went back and taught at that school.
I went back and taught at that same school multiple years and did a better job of it than, you know, even their head of the art department, which was pretty wild. Especially because the same shitty art teacher was there at the time. So I had this shitty art teacher for like the bulk of my teaching in art. They skipped the middle years, so I didn't get to do art for a long time, even though I wanted to. And then at the end, I did my major project, which was like the culmination of a year's worth of work, which was going to be graded for my final exams. And the teacher went in and painted over my work, claiming that she was improving it.
Not allowed.
And
Cheating.
yeah, she's not allowed to do that. And because it's marked externally by other people, she potentially lost me a whole bunch of marks because she doesn't know how to paint, so she made it worse. So that was a thing. I ended up throwing a table at her in frustration. It's a slight aside.
Love.
And then after that decided, well, this is it. This is the decision. I'm gonna basically become an art teacher. So I did. And I did that for too long. 9 years. 8 years? 9 years. 9 years. And I hated every minute of it. Sounds like they deserved it. Yes, they did. Yeah, hated every minute of it. And now I am no longer a teacher. I will potentially go into university teaching and lecturing at some point, maybe. But for now, I'm just becoming a full-time artist and a tattooist, and that's what's going to make me happy. So, that's where we're at. But yeah, I'm super sorry that your art teacher was so shit. Like, that's awful. And no one should belittle people's art and their creative pursuits like that. That's really disappointing to hear. I hope that you manage to get back into it and continue to progress and do awesome things, because I'm sure you will. Yeah, so art. It's a difficult thing. Alright, we're continuing on with our little design here. I think we're getting closer to being able to start putting in some harder lines. We're going to put in our inked lines, and then we'll go in with our colors. I'll be able to show off my lovely Prismacolors, which I'm super fond of. If you ever get a chance to get some Prismacolors, I would highly recommend. They are quite expensive, unfortunately, but if you've got the money to spare and you want to invest in your art, because it will be an investment, it will definitely pay off with better artworks if you can use better tools. You'll still need the skills, obviously, but like. You did one time your own OC. You worked on for 5 days, and you were so proud, and he ripped it apart at his point, and you were so discouraged about it. He got fired a year because he burned a painting. and set the whole classroom on fire. That's
Holy shit.
actually insane. That sounds like the school I went to. There was a lot of crazy shit that went on at my school as well. We had a fair amount of teachers who ended up getting fired for various reasons. Most of them kind of inappropriate and probably not something I should talk about on stream. But yeah, lots of crazy shit. So sounds like you also went to a crazy school. Congratulations and commiserations. He was super confident in his own self-claimed godly art. Anybody who calls their art godly is already a bit of a shit, so there you go.
Agreed.
Thank you, Lizzie Bell, you absolute noggin, for
I don't know what you mean.
gifting Neko Arts a subscription. That is very kind of you.
Definitely not losing us money.
Yeah, given I'm no longer working as a teacher now.
It's fine, I'm working.
You are working. We have a fairly untypical household structure. I like to call myself a trad husband, because I stay home and do the house husbanding, especially now that I'm no longer working as a teacher. And that works really well for us. We're super happy about it. Everything is going really awesome. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to chuck them in chat. But yeah, I like being home with the puppies, and making art and cleaning the house, cooking, and looking after the general day-to-day stuff while my lovely Lizzie Bell goes and makes the money. Is a breadwinner.
Yeah.
You only got back into art because you lost a bet. That's amazing. What was the bet? Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let me think about it. Were you drunk at the time? Okay, we're gonna add some little what are these called? Suckers, I guess? What are the tentacle pads called? Colloquially, they'd be called suckers. I don't know if that's official terminology though. Scientific terminology. Kinda always been into art because your parents. That's awesome. You have some issues remaining motivated, so you don't draw as much as you'd like to. Aren't they stingers? The stingers are on jellyfish. These things that are trailing down. Sometimes they're part of that cluster, but specifically these are like octopus or squid tentacles is what I was going for out the bottom. So basically I'm just mashing different things together and making this kind of monstrosity was the plan. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Yeah, that's super awesome. When parents are like super supportive about art or super supportive about any creative pursuit really, and encourage you to stay in it or to engage with it in the first place, I always think that's a really awesome thing. More parents should do that for their kids. It was in a game. You did a no-hit run in Elden Ring. Jeez, that's impressive. Said you never managed it under 100 tries. And it took you 698 tries. Okay, fair enough. I mean, slightly less impressive. It took you 600, nearly 700. Let's call it 700. 700 tries. But impressive that you managed to do it at all. That's something I wouldn't have been able to do anyway, so. I like video games, but I am not particularly adept at the video games. As we often joke on the channel, you know, not a massive fan of the difficult video games, because I'm an old man. You adopted your mother's self-criticism, so you're rarely happy with your pieces, but you have a few that you love. Yeah, that's a lot of artists. A lot of artists are really, really self-critical about their work. I've actually talked about this a whole bunch of times on the channel, but the idea that there's like a period in working on an artwork. So at the very beginning, you have an idea, and you have a general concept of how you want it to look. And you're kind of okay with it, you like it for a little bit, and then there's a period of time somewhere in the first sort of 5 minutes, up until like a good 3/4 of the way through, where you're like, this is the worst thing I've ever created, and I'm not really an artist, and this is, you know, fucked, and I don't know what I'm doing, and like, and all that kind of shit. And then you get over that hump, and it starts looking like the thing that you like, it's supposed to look like again. Or it looks something like, it looks like an artwork, essentially. And then once you get past that point, it starts becoming easier. Not necessarily that you're definitely going to like it after that kind of 3/4 area, but that it gets easier to like it again. And if you don't push past that awful period, the big hump of, you know, I don't know what I'm doing and this is shit, then, you know, you can end up not liking a lot of your art, or you can end up not finishing it properly, like not putting in the effort and the time to make it look good, because you're too busy fussing over, well, it looks like shit now and I don't know what to do. And even I, as a professional artist, do that all the time. So, you know, don't feel like you're alone in this. He wasn't your best bet. Yeah, that's fair. You're working on your art confidence 86 at the moment. Cool. Okay. You know, that's pretty good. 86% is good. If you're confident in your artwork's abilities 86% of the time, you're doing, you know, significantly better than most people, I would say. All right. Where do I want to start this? I think I want to start at the top here. Gonna add a little bit more flourish to these frills here. So I'm still following the same general curve. Let's see if I can show you, but I'm just trying to make them a little bit more varied, so that I can add some more detail into them afterwards. You've gotten addicted to taking half-finished abandoned canvases and finishing them. That is a good practice to have. If they're other people's canvases, it's a really good way to learn and pick up styles and techniques. If you're having to like conform to someone else's like process or project, that's a very cool thing to do. There aren't a lot of half-finished works around here that aren't my own, so it's mainly just forcing myself to finish something I've already started. Your perfection kicks in, just one line, repeat drawing that line a billion times. Yeah, fair. Perfectionism is a pain. And it's tricky, because like, there's two minds about it, and I kind of flip back and forth between them. I have a very strong leaning towards the idea that like nothing has to be perfect, but I know myself as a perfectionist. I don't fit into that as a thing, because I will then just redo things until I'm happy with them, or I'll give up on something if it's not perfect and I'll be unhappy with it. That being said, at the same time, if the only thing that you're striving for is perfection in everything, then you're never going to be happy because nothing's ever going to be perfect. So having it be like 90% good enough, and then being like, okay, now it's finished, it's done, and then letting it be its own thing, is probably better, especially if you can then spend the time doing 2 or 3 90% works, rather than trying really, really hard to make one 100% work. Like, striving for that absolute perfection, because you'll never reach it, or very, very, very rarely. You could spend, 100 hours on a single artwork trying to get it to 99.9999% finished, or you could, spend that same 100 hours making, 20 99% artworks or 90% artworks. And the more you do, the better you get. So rather than refining one piece over and over and over and over again, if you're doing 20 different pieces, you're picking up skills from lots of different places and different styles and things, and those kind of merge together to make a stronger practice. But again, it's difficult. Redoing the same line 100 times, or even 1,000 times, or 10,000 times, is how you perfect that one line. But if all you can do is one line, then, it's hard to say you're a very accomplished artist, because if you can only do one thing, or a very small amount of things. But then again, I've heard artists who are like, just do one thing perfectly, and then that's your niche, and then you just do that forever. I would get bored if that was me, but works for some people, I guess. Imagine Prickle breaks into houses, finishes their half-finished canvases. Oh, maybe I should write a comic. That would be a great comic. Or Pickle, you should make a comic about yourself. You have an issue with knowing how much is too much. Yes, and that's the trick of it. Is learning when to put the pen down, when to be like, okay, done, because that's a tricky thing. There's a lot of skill in that, just knowing when something is done, or when it's okay to say that it's done. I'm art. So in art, I'm less a perfectionist. It just kicks in sometimes. But if you notice it, you just take a break. Yeah, taking a break is a really good thing. Like even like 5-10 minutes, being able to look back and see the process and the progress that you've made on an artwork can often help you like readjust and see the good in it again. It's also a really good tactic for if you don't know what to do next, because moving away from something and then giving your eyes time to like readjust to it, you'll immediately see things that need fixing up or things that don't have an issue. It's annoying to you because your favorite artworks are the ones you started and finished in an hour or two, and then you have others that you'll never finish. Yeah, exactly. I have the same problem. I have artworks that I have spent like hours and hours and hours on, and I don't like them because I've spent so long looking at the flaws and trying to fix them. And then I've had works that I like literally threw together like within 10-20 minutes, and just like pumped them out as trying to get as much done as possible, or something on a stream, for example. And I will come back to it like months later, forgot that I did it, and look at it and be like, wow, this is really good. Like, why do I not make more art like this? And it's just because, I did it once and I did it right, and then, from there. took a break because you knew it didn't get you anywhere? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I understand the Instagram thing. I was very inconsistent with my social medias for a long time. I've gotten better at it. But yeah. That was one of my things. People kept asking me like, oh, do you have examples of your work? And I'd be like, So now I post a lot more regularly. I also stream, which helps, but yeah, I get the inconsistency with social media thing. That's an issue. It can also be hard when you're not like... So it's kind of different for me because I am a professional artist. I do sell and make art like all the time. So I do have something fairly regularly to post. Whereas, you know, back in the day when it was kind of a bit more of a hobby, or at least it wasn't my direct focus, it can be hard to find the things you want to post or time to post them and all that kind of stuff. It's reasonable. Inconsistency is key. You gotta be inconsistent. You made it when you're younger, so your art isn't the best. That's fine. I'm a big proponent of, like, keeping up your old stuff. I want to see... I can understand why certain artists, or people in general, want to delete their old stuff and then just have, like, the newer, you know, best thing, in quotes. But it's really nice to see a progression of work. So from, like, when you first started, what you were doing, to then a little bit more, getting better, and then a little bit better again, and then, like, your brand new stuff. It's also why I post, like, some of my experimental stuff. Things that are, like, me playing with materials, or playing with different designs, or different subject matters that I'm not super confident in. I will post those as well. Not all the time, but occasionally. Just because it's nice. There is my shop once again. I'm going to chuck the Instagram in, actually. Instagram. I did tell everybody to go and have a look, but there's the link if you haven't yet. And you can check out my my tattooing art stuff that I've done, some of the tattoo designs that we've come up with recently, as well as just some of my other art that I've been doing. My art cards, my divination cards that I have been working on are also up there. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go and check that out. They will be in the shop eventually, hopefully very soon, in my Etsy store. And I'll probably find like a website or something to sell them on too. But I need to finish the boxes. I have designed the cards. They're already... Do you like you've already stalked it? Perfect. I've already got all the cards printed, so I've got 20 decks worth of both designs. So there's 2 designs currently. They're an updated version of the old cards that I used to make. So they are now newer, updated versions with newer, updated pictures. Some brand new, some old but revamped. And we're just waiting at the moment, mainly on me, to finish the box designs. I've got a kind of crappy example here, but like this lovely kind of mushroom design on there, and then there's going to be some text on the back here, and then the name of the deck on the front, and then these are the lovely cards. So that's a thing that's coming eventually, and they look something exactly like this. So these are what the backs look like. They're full tarot sized, so they're sort of nice and big in your hands. Got these lovely mushrooms on the back, and then on the front they are these these nice little art designs. Quite a few of them are things we've done recently. You'll recognize this. There you go. Hey! Anyway. So, you'll recognize some of the things as stuff we've done digitally recently, and then there's other ones that we have done. Oh, there they are right now, up there. And then other ones that I have done previous to. There we go. There's the tiger. Look at that timing. So we've got some of our sexy mushrooms. Yeah, so these are gonna be for sale. They aren't quite yet. They're not. They don't have boxes. So we need to get the boxes. But as soon as we've got boxes, they will be for sale, and you will be able to buy some if you want some, which is awesome. Thank you very much. No worries. Enjoy whatever it is you're going off to do, Aroneko. Yeah, thanks. I've been working on them for a while now, so I'm glad you like them. I'm hoping lots of people like them and buy them. I'm not super worried about whether or not they make me a bunch of money, but it would be nice to, like, you know, have it become a thing and people enjoy the art on them, because that's why I made them, really. The other side of it is for spiritual reasons, but the majority of the reason for these cards in particular was made for the art. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think I want to do these tentacle trails first. I'm going to change this one slightly, just because I think I have made it just a little bit too curvy. There we go. It's a little nicer. You really like the comic idea of a vigilante or criminal who breaks into people's houses and finishes half-painted canvases. Yes. I love this idea, and I really want someone to make it. I will make it if no one else will, but I'm not myself a comic book artist. I've only made, like, a few comics. I tried to make a manga once, although I guess technically it wouldn't be a manga because I'm not Japanese, but a manga style comic, and it's not really my area of expertise, but yeah, I like that kind of stuff, so I'd love to see it done. What should it be called? I mean, I'm tempted to say something like The Finisher, but I don't know if that potentially sounds phrasing. sounds wrong. I am aware my lighting's all off. I have a setup that is not ideal for what I do. The Finisher, you love that? Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad I could entertain. That's what I'm going for here. Yeah, so I am absolutely all for someone making this into an actual comic series. Or even just a one-shot would be great. We are currently listening to Epidemic Sounds, and their lovely. What playlist is this? Loose the Goose playlist, which is currently. It's got a lot of jazz in it. Modern jazz, smooth jazz, acid jazz, traditional. And then it's got a little bit of like hip hop, a little bit of old school rock. It's not bad. I don't mind the vibes. Should you make him a perverse art creep or just a straight up deranged lunatic? I think deranged lunatic makes more sense. Because it's potentially already unnerving that they're going into, like, breaking into someone's house to like, paint, to finish paintings. If you then add, like, perverted into it, it might tip it in the wrong direction. But it's your art, so however you want to do it. I am open to the ideas. There is a link to the Discord down the bottom of my page in the About Me section, and it will come up, or if you type !Discord into the chat, and there'll be a link to the Discord there. You can join. It's a Discord for all of our streamy friends, so we have this large community of streamers, and everybody is welcome into the World Tree chat. There is an art channel in that Discord. If you want to, you can post some stuff in there, but you can also post this comic in there if you like, or even the idea for it. You got the idea from this stream's chat, though. Are you trying to suggest that this stream is a perverse art creep chat? I am shocked and offended. How dare. I was talking about drawing mushrooms in bondage gear before, so maybe I shouldn't be as offended. Nah, never. Oh no. I've fucked up. It's alright, we'll just make that one a little thicker. It's the problem with fine line work. If you mess up a line, it's really obvious. Alright, we've done all the front ones. I'm going to go in and do the stem here. Gonna make it a little bit more textured. Almost kind of like... This is probably the wrong word, but like knobbly? Do I care about the state of origin or nah? I have a cursory engagement with the state of origin. I do go for the blues for New South Wales, because I am myself a New South Welshman. But other than that, I don't know what it is this year where we're at. I don't know who won the last round. I think we're on the second round now? Question mark. But I just honestly haven't been watching or paying all that much attention. I've been in my own little world for a bit, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to take it. Been stressing, been at the therapy, been at all the things. So I've been a little distracted. I haven't had a chance to really catch up. Queensland won the first, and we're on the second now. Okay, cool. Cool. There you go then. Who do you go for in the origin? Yeah, that was one of the things that used to come up all the time while I was teaching. A lot of the kids wanted to know, like, what sports I was engaged with. Like, what was my team in the various different sporting leagues, what I watched regularly or what my hobby was. And I was just like, guys, honestly, I'm an artist. I'm an artist and a religion teacher. You expect me to be, like, super into the sports ball? So that's a thing. That being said, like, I've been to quite a lot of games, football and soccer. I know quite a few people. I've had a lot of friends who are, like, professional athletes. So, the school I went to was the feeder school for Balmain West Tigers. And quite a few of the guys that I went to school with, they ended up on the team, the national team, and then went on to, like, do Origin and things like that. So, I knew pretty closely some guys who ended up being, quite up there in the sport, or the various sports, because there was also quite a few guys in Sydney FC who went to my school as well. Like, in my year group kind of thing. You're a maroon man? Oh, well, we can't hold that against you. I mean, we could, but... Are you... So, here's the real question. Are you from Queensland? So are you an honourable Queenslander and therefore following Maroon? Or are you from another state? And if you're from another state, why did you choose Queensland? If you're a Victorian, I kind of understand. Just a little bit. But, like, thin ice. You're from Queensland. Okay, well, that's alright then. See, I have no issue with that. Someone from New South Wales following the Blues and someone from Queensland following Maroons, no issue. That makes perfect sense to me because you're engaged with the nationalism of the team.
And then we'll just engage in friendly rivalry.
Yeah.
As opposed to being disappointed that you've chosen the wrong team but not from that state.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you live in New South Wales and you go for Queensland, you're an idiot. If you... Just flat out, you're an idiot. If you live in another state, like any of the other states, and you have picked a side, then you have picked a side for a very specific reason, and not just because it's, your origin, state of origin. So, that's why I asked, because it's very specific in how that works. You're back! Welcome back! We were discussing the state of origin and why some people are silly. You're from Germany! Well, guten Tag. My German is awful and non-existent, some would say. Your mother was from New South Wales, so your sister goes for that team. Your heart lies with the red. Okay. Yeah, I guess. I guess. Your sister could get away with it, but, like, a little bit. So, here's the question, and you might feel a little bit awkward about this. Was your sister either conceived or born in New South Wales and then moved to Queensland? Or is she just solely a Queenslander who happens to have a mother who's a New South Welshman? Because they're very different situations. Would be bad if you say the E like in German. Okay. Well, yeah, fair enough. You're twins, you're both born in Queensland. No excuses then. That's it, you've got to disown your sister. you agree with that? Okay, good. You did years ago for that reason. Perfect. Well, at least there's some consistency. Welcome, my my new German friend. Interesting that you went with Neko as a German, but I guess weebs abound everywhere. I am an Australian. If you hadn't caught on yet, very similar to Austrians, but just a little different in that we're upside down. So, you know, simple change. I know, but yeah. How are you doing in Germany at the moment? It's summer over there, I believe. It's been a while since I've been to Germany. Like Germany. Not big on the beer is the problem with being in Germany, given that it's a very beer-heavy culture. I'm glad it's a drinking-heavy culture, because then we get along really well, as Australians who are just rampantly alcoholics, and as Germans who like a good drink. It's kind of nice to have that to bond over. But I can't drink the beer, because I don't like it, so... you know, we have that problem. Instead, it's spirits all the way for me, so... The hard liquors. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Indeed. You're working on a piece. That's lovely. What piece are you working on? Always glad to hear when people are working on art. The world always needs more art, I think. FNAF fan art. I'm gonna have to look up what a FNAF is. Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. Yeah. Fair. I got it. Beat you to it. I have to be honest, I've never played the Five Nights at Freddy's games. I'm not a big fan of horror movies or horror genre type things. So I don't play many, if any, horror games. I've played a couple in the past, but I've not played any of the like modern ones. And though I've seen quite a lot of horror films, I'm not a fan of the genre. For a bunch of different reasons, really, but mainly just because I don't enjoy being scared. I don't like that feeling. And because I have a very overactive imagination as an artist, I'm very susceptible to the, you know, the effect of horror. I can manage pretty well if it's in that kind of like almost slapstick realm, or heavy gore. Gore doesn't really bother me all that much. So the like the Saw films, for example, I don't have any issues with those as horror films. They're kind of more gore, gonzo type stuff, but yeah, the more like screamer thrillers, more traditional horror type stuff, that gets me a little. I'm not as much a fan of that kind of stuff. But like I say, I've seen a lot of it, so even having a not a huge like of it, I still engage with them, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know which. You love horror in games. You just like being sarcastic. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's a good solution to it. You think it's the endorphins you get when you stop being scared that draws a lot of people in. Yes. However, I have a weird endorphin reward system. I don't tend to get endorphins from a release of something. So, for example, exercise. I can exercise and I will just feel tired at the end of it. I won't actually get the endorphin rush from having exercised. The fear response doesn't provide me with endorphins afterwards. I will get scared and I will have an elated heart rate, but I won't necessarily have the good feeling from the endorphin rush. Like, I won't get that. So it's a tricky one. We started playing Amnesia, the bunker, recently. It might have made you the most scared you've ever been. Yeah, fair. That's why I don't play those sorts of games. You're playing Dead by Daylight right now. While you cook soup. How is the soup going? You're like, oh look, the only door which leads out is blocked. Who couldn't guess that the magically teleporting killer who blocked the door from the other side is now behind the convenient that skilled level 100 in stealth. Yeah. See, I also have that issue with horror movies, and this, like, it's not super fair because it's definitely not all things, but like, horror in the genre is very overpopulated and tends to be quite lazy a lot of the time. There are some great horror movies out there. There's some really awesome ones, and the genre itself has some really good stuff, but it is swamped with just B-grade shit as well. And it's a lot of that really predictable, really kind of hammy, overdone stuff, and then it's just pumped full of, like, fake emotional responses. So a lot of, like, jump scares when they don't need to be a jump scare, or a lot of, like, heavy use of, like, influential subtle music or subtle imagery as a way of trying to make you feel scared or trying to make you feel a response rather than having actually earned that response. And so that's one of my frustrations with horror. I have a few, but like that's one of them why I don't really like it. But everybody is welcome to their opinion about it, and I know people who love the horror genre, and you know, kudos to them. That's awesome. You love Dead by Daylight? Yes, I would agree. Dead by Daylight is a really good homage to the horror genre, specifically the like slasher horror style. It's very, very good at emulating stuff like that. Do I get good feelings in general? Yes, I have good feelings in general. I do have a working endorphin and dopamine system. It just doesn't always work the same way that it does for everyone else. There are some awesome artists, some awesome Twitch streamers. Go and check them out. They are really cool and awesome people. There's a list of like 10, 12 there, I think. There is also the Discord if you want to join up, and my Redbubble, awesome art stuff to check out if you're keen. You love psychological horror? Yes. That's, I think, the best kind of horror, or at least for me, the best kind of horror, as from a subjective perspective, is the psychological style horror or thriller horror. I think it tends more often to be done well and to be more well thought out, and sort of applied better. A lot of the Japanese horror is really good as well, and that fits pretty heavily into that psychological thriller style horror. There are some bad ones, obviously, but like they, on the whole, on average, they tend to be better, or at least they tend to do the things that I would expect or want from a horror style film, or a film in general, really, like good storytelling kind of stuff, and then techniques that assist that. The slashers are fun and interesting at times, but I think like they really easily fall into that kind of like hammy, overdone, overused tropes, very cliche kind of thing, and it can be difficult to like let yourself be immersed in it. because there's a lot of like, oh well, why would they? There's it's hard to suspend disbelief in quite a lot of them. Poor motivations in characters, or like weird situations that kind of don't really make sense and aren't really explained very well, and that kind of stuff. Like it can be difficult. But this is coming from someone who doesn't like the genre all that much. Those are my critiques. People who avidly like it will have their reasonings and disagree with me, and that's fine. I am no expert in film or filmography. Where is the line along here? It's that one. Alright, let's finish this first, and then we'll do that. The character lore behind Dead by Daylight is some of your favorite of any game. That's fair. It has some very extensive lore behind it, and a lot of references to some very well established and well known horror tropes, horror greats. Right, this is coming along nicely thus far. How long have we been streaming for? Hour and a half. Perfect. We've got plenty of time. We will we'll finish this, move on to the next one, and we should have enough time to get our third done, and then see about moving on after that. Potentially get a fourth done if we have the time. I would like to. Just have to see how we go. I'm mindful that my Lizzie Bell has to be up in the morning, so I don't want to be up too late chatting her ear off. This might sound like weird to the others in the chat, but should the finished have some sort of magic or demonic power, or is he just a guy? I like the idea that he's just a guy, that he's just like some crazed artist, on a personal journey to finish all of the artworks in the world. But if you had some kind of like magical demonic possession kind of thing, then you could have him like breaking into more places and being able to do more things, like magically making his art supplies appear out of nowhere and that kind of stuff. That would be cool. But I do kind of just like the idea that it's just some guy. It's just a random who couldn't bear the unfinished artworks in the world, and so took it upon himself. Made an oath that he would allow no painting to ever be unfinished. You think just a guy is a bit funnier? Maybe his little tote bag or a purse or something. He's the next Marvel superhero. Yeah, exactly. Or supervillain. Because I don't know how people would actually react to that in real life. I have a feeling that they would just claim him to be a villain. Like breaking into people's houses to forcibly complete their artworks. I'm pretty sure is a fairly villainistic thing to do. I'm also imagining, like, as the run progresses and like the police get involved and he's having to hide from all the police. Anti-hero, there you go. It's an anti-hero. Perfect. I'm imagining like the you know, like the 150th comic that comes out is like he's finished all of the artworks in his like state or whatever, and so he decides to then go and find all of the half-finished artworks from like really famous artists in galleries, and goes and finds like Da Vinci's old sketchbook or something, and goes in and starts trying to finish all of them, and then like all of the preservation societies and conservationists are like freaking out, trying to like work out who this mysterious villain is, this anti-hero who's coming in and like basically destroying history, but at the same time finishing the artworks. And obviously by that point he's gotten good enough as an artist, because like by 150 comics he has to have been a fairly decent artist, but he's become such a good artist that he's like finishing it properly, and so they like everybody's conflicted because they don't know whether or not they should be outraged that someone ruined history like that, but then they get to see the finished artwork and they're like, oh my god, it's so beautiful and amazing and it's exactly what he would have wanted. He hates cubism and other forms of abstract art as he sees them as only partly done. Oh, that's controversial. That's the redemption arc, is it? Yeah. That's a controversial statement right there. That's where he splits the art world. All the academics are like, no, it is real art, and then all of the outsider artists, all of the amateur artists and the hobbyists are like, no, it's just bullshit. You love cubism? Yeah. I am partial to cubism. Abstraction I can kind of take or leave. I really like the idea, the story behind like minimalism and abstraction, but in practice there's not a lot of abstraction that I really, really like, but cubism as a style is something I really enjoy. I think a lot of Cubist artists do really interesting things with the style and with the concept of like trying to represent multiple perspectives and dimensions in one flat plane. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a thing. Alright. We should probably colour this. I feel like we should colour this before we move on to our second one. Alright. I'll crack out the Prismacolors and I'll have a think. Have a decide. Have a cheeky decide. For those who don't know, Prismacolors. Prismacolors are, I believe they're an American brand. Or French? Atlanta. No, they're American. They're American. Prismacolors are really awesome if you can get a handle of them. They're quite expensive. This is like the first really awesome top of the line art thing that I've gotten well, it wasn't, I didn't buy it, my partner bought it for me, which is super awesome, and I'm super happy about that. There's 150 colors in here. They are layered on top of each other, so you can see there's like a track and then a whole nother one, and there's 6 of these frackin' things. So, very cool. But it's also super unwieldy, so let's see if we can manage this.
Would you like to borrow some of my table? I'm going to be going to bed shortly.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know if it's... I think it's going to be in the way too much for you, though.
Oh, I'm going to go to bed soon. It's on this step.
Alright, maybe I'll...
Just sit with it like...
Here, I'll do that.
But I was just going to say, Luke, just leave it.
I'll do that. Alright, and we'll grab... What did we use last time? I know we used this one. And this one. And this one. Do. He's the he's the amateur hero. Used to have a set of Prismas. They were best colors. Best pencils you had. Yeah. They are particularly awesome. If you can afford to invest in them and treat them right, they're really awesome. They have a really good color density. The pigment density is really good, and they're soft, so they're really good at like blending into each other. You can get a really good color range out of them. So we are currently using pale vermilion, cadmium orange, and scarlet lake are the 3 colors we're going to start off with. And I am once again going off the design we had. Actually, it's a photo reference of a magic mushroom. So I'm going to start the top, making it very magic mushroom-esque, and then we're going to move into something a little bit more surreal down the bottom. So I'm thinking pinks, blues, maybe a bit of green here and there. You luckily own a set of the Polychromos from Faber-Castell. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, Faber-Castell does some really good stuff. Derwent over here as well is a really good one. I know Faber-Castell has a really good, like, middle artist brand. And Derwent also does a quite good middle-of-the-road artist brand. They're not too expensive. They're definitely not cheap, but they're not too expensive. And they do quite a good job. Whereas the Prismacolors are just, like, very expensive, but very worth it. So if you can afford it. You don't have Prismacolor with the delivery fee, they would actually be more expensive. Yeah, that's it. It's a similar thing in Australia. If you buy something in Australia, it's not like made in Australia, or at least imported in Australia directly. It's not too bad. But if you have anything shipped over to here, it is the worst. We pay so many import taxes and so much extra tax just because we're so far away from everything. It can make everything really prohibitively expensive. And it's a pain. It's a massive pain in the ass. But we manage. Alright, I'm just laying down some basic color. And then we're going to go in and start putting our detail work in. And I might have to erase some of this just a little bit to get our highlights back. We'll see how we go. Might do a little bit more vibrant color than I did on the original. Just to get that really surreal feel going. The polychromos are also expensive. One of the best with Prismacolor and Karan Dashe. Interesting. Yeah, I had heard of the Polychromos. From Faber-Castell. They were way too expensive to buy them here. The Prismacolors were actually a fair bit cheaper to buy here. So let's wiggle this over ever so slightly. There we go. You'll actually be able to see me. Or maybe I'll just wiggle over. There we go. Yeah, I always tell people, like, you can make art with anything. So, like, don't ever feel like you're excluded from art making by, you know, being too poor or not having the materials or whatever. You can make art with literally anything. I have made art before. I have made, like, fairly decent, good quality art with, like, matches. Literally burning a match and then using the charcoal. This is falling down on there. Using the charcoal from the there we go. Using the charcoal from the burnt match head as a way of drawing, or you can get, like, you know, a 20-cent pencil and make something amazing. However, that being said, if you can invest in the proper tools, spend a little bit more money, and get something that's easier to work with, you're able to refine things much, much better and much more quickly. So you'll be able to make an even better artwork, or the same artwork, but with a much greater ease, and therefore you'll be able to make more of it, and if you can make more of it, then, you know, you can continue getting better with your art. So that's generally the thing I like to tell people is, like, make art first, just spend the time making art and getting better at art and not worrying about what you're using. But also, if you have the spare money, or if you're going to spend the time actually doing it long term, like if you want to make a career out of art, or even just a long-term hobby, if you intend to make art a lot for a long time, invest in the tools. Invest in making the best of the thing you can possibly get, so that, you know, it lasts you longer and you can do more with it, and it will help you progress much more quickly than other things. You don't know if Karan Achi is top of the top, but a pencil costs around $5 or $6. Yeah, pretty much. Like, very expensive. Yeah. Yeah, there's the saying, like, a poor workman blames his tools, and while I think there is some truth to that in the sense of, like, you know, if you don't have the skills, and if you don't work at getting better at something, then, you know, you're never going to be good, and additionally, a particularly good artist or a particularly good workman will be able to make the thing that they're trying to make with basically any tool, because it's about, you know, it's about your skill level and about you putting in the time and effort to it. That being said, with the right tools, you can do a significant amount more and do it more competently. And if you are doing it like consistently over time, you can do it more quickly, more efficiently. And that means you're more likely to do a better thing because you can do it more often. And you can do it, you can learn consistently how to do the thing over time because you'll be doing more of the thing. So it's a, you know, it's a nuance thing, I think. There's a little bit more to the world, the creative pursuit than the saying might otherwise lead one to believe. Which is often the case. You know, sayings tend to be you mainly use markers you love, but you hate how expensive the Copics are. I have these Copic markers. These ones here. And these are the only Copic markers I own because they are so fucking expensive. I have these ones, and then I bought this, like, set of, kind of crappy markers. But they do a decent job, so I've got, like, a big set of these ones. They've got a full range of color. They don't last very long. They dry out a lot. They're a no brand. They were, like, the cheapest ones I could get for the amount that they were. So it was, like, $100 for, like, that huge set. But yeah, if you can get Copic markers, invest in Copic markers. But like, even I am like, oh god, they're so expensive. So I totally understand why someone else would be like, yeah, maybe not. You can get a set of 320 Uhuhus. I like Uhuhu. I think they're a really good brand. For 180, and you can get 94 Copics for $450. Yeah, exactly that. And that's it. Like, if you want the really good thing, you kind of gotta fork out the money for it. And you know, it does make some difference. It does make a difference, especially at the high end when you're really working at something. You could do it without, but like I was saying before, it's that like time and refinement issue. So the idea that like you could spend 100 hours on one artwork, or you could spend 100 hours on like 20 artworks, and they'd be very similar, but only if you're working with the tools that you need. Otherwise, you're going to be spending 100 hours making one decent artwork. But if you had the tools, if you had the really, really, really good tools, you could do it in, like, half the time, quarter of the time. And that can be important. It can also be important, especially if you're, like, a professional artist, because then, like, that time period is, like, that's money for you. Or if you're a hobbyist as well, like, spending 100 hours on the same artwork is demoralizing. So I get why people would be like, yeah, nah, I'm just gonna spend the money and get the better thing. That being said, I refuse to use Photoshop because they have a subscription service and I don't want to keep paying the money. So when it comes to digital art, you think your first set of 72 Copics was on sale at your local art store for like $160. Yeah. Ahuhu is pretty good. I have heard only good things. I've never used them myself, but I have heard only good things about them. So there's a couple of really good like mid-range marker brands and pencil brands that are like, they're not the super high-end stuff. You're definitely not going to get like everything you want out of them, but given their price, given their like half to less than half the price of like a Copic, for example, or like Prismacolors or something like that, given that they're like less than half the price, they do a comparable job, and you would only really notice the difference like at the super high end when you're really like blending colors together and trying to have like super even coverage with not a lot of bleed and that kind of like all those sorts of things. It's very specific situations and scenarios in which you would really need the super high end brand over something that's a little bit cheaper. But that being said, if you can invest in something like a Copic, it will last you a lot longer. Copic markers last for ages. Oh, Lizzie Bell, thank you very much for the stretch, the hydrate, and the prostate check. I will do all of those now. The prostate check. Yeah.
Can I redeem a good night?
You can absolutely redeem a good night.
Can I redeem a good night kiss?
You can redeem a good night kiss. I will come and give you a good night kiss.
Oh.
Your worst you tested was a store here called Teddy. Damn, those are horrible. We have a store here called Typo. They're basically a stationery store. That's where I got my markers from. They're pretty shit. They're not terrible. They're not like the worst thing ever, but they're not what you would call good.
Someone's never getting a Typo.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to get Typo sponsorship. Their other stuff is really good. I like their notebooks. I like their pens.
They have really nice sleep masks, which I know is really random, but my favourite sleep mask was from Typo.
Fair. Whips allowed in the Discord. Absolutely. Work in progress. Chuck it in there. If you chuck a whip in, I will say it would be awesome if you could chuck the finished product in eventually. Like, don't feel like you have to, but if you can finish it and then put it in as well, so you have like the whip and then the finish, that would be amazing. But yeah, like work in progress, absolutely. Chuck it in. We are all about the art things. I will be right back. Alright, I am back. Oh, hi, Henry. How you doing? tired boy. You always finish your art. Good. It's good to hear. I don't. I would like to always finish my art. But that's not a thing I can say that I consistently always do. Hi, Henry. You'll post your draft of the first comic page when it's done. Yes! Please do. Please do. So keen. We've done a fair few of these kind of like silly characters, silly comics style stuff on the channel previously. So very pro that as an idea. Just gonna open the Discord. Oh, that's funky. One of the Five Nights at Freddy bunny characters with a headless child, I'm assuming. Nice. Very nice. Yeah. Keep working at it when it's done. Or even, you know, the next time you know, finish or stop or whatever, you can post progress pictures and stuff. That's what the channel's for. Just for general art stuff, anything that you're working on, anything that you're really keen about, just as long as it's your own work, as long as it is actually your work. That's kind of the only caveat of that channel. It's Vanessa and Vanny. Should the first page be of him watching TV and seeing some weird abstract art being praised? The answer is yes. Yeah. Probably. Probably should be. Because you begin with, like, origins. Not always, but, like, most of the time, your comics will begin with origin story. Like, how did this crazed individual come to be? And then you gotta work at it from there. What you doing, Henry? You noggin of a boy? We currently have 2 puppies in the house. We have our beautiful daughter, Tia. And then we also have a foster son, Henry, who is Mel's work colleague's dog, who could not be at their house anymore, unfortunately, due to landlord issues. And so now we're looking after him for an extended period of time. So it's been a year, almost. It's been a year already. There you go. And he's a giant noggin. He is a Great Dane cross bull mastiff. He's all goo and no brains. You want to do a comic or a cartoon next year? You should. Yeah, comics cool. I've done a few little comics in the past, and I've tried to do like a manga style comic as well. And then I've done some more like superhero and then zine style comics. I've never been super good at it, mainly because I'm not consistent. So I will start an idea and then I won't really finish it, especially if it takes a long time. But it is very cool. And I am super pro people like putting in the effort to make comics. Especially if they've got like some sort of interesting progression in them. You're already working on some character designs, very cool. What kind of storyline are you going for? What vibe? What genre? Because this is always one of the interesting things that I find with like people who make different sorts of like creative pursuits, especially ones that deal with like storytelling in particular. So like novelists or cartoonists, animators, that kind of stuff, filmographers. How you come up with the process of your story development. Do you come up with the story first, or do you come up with the category, the genre you want to be in? Or do you come up with the characters and then let them, like, develop in the world? Do you build the world first and then populate it with characters? Like, how do you like to build that out? Because lots of people do it in lots of different ways, and there's no one real way to do it, but, like, it's interesting to see how people's, like, concepts develop over time. How's the Tum Tum? The Tum Tum is doing pretty awfully, I'll be honest. I have had some quite explosive experiences. Have you yielded to letting you make sure that I have good food for the weekend? Yeah, absolutely. Just put whatever you like into the soup, into the stew, into the whatever you want to make me, and I will eat it. And it will be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Probably something about demons. Interesting. What sort of demons are you gonna go with? Are you going with the Christianized like fallen angels? Are you going with the monsters from hell type demons? Are you going with the sort of influencing mankind demonic forces, or are you going with the kind of more folklorish European kind of like almost fae monsters, tricksy or like bestial? What's your vibe? What's your vibe for that? Definitely build the character first with a general idea of the world they're going to be in. Okay, cool. I like it. It's an interesting idea. I look forward to hearing more about it if you stick around. More of the Christianized Hebrew ones. Okay, cool. So, like the Solomonic seals and you know, demonic levels of hell and things like that. Is it going to be more Dante-esque, or is it going to be more like fallen angels and corrupted? The demons you use are mainly Hebrew names. Interesting. I like it. We definitely like stories around these parts. We are fans of the storytelling. Alright, I think I'm going to go pretty heavily orange down here. Just to kind of differentiate from the upper sections. Here a little. Just do... Actually, what I'll probably do is blend this back a little and then have it blend into orange. That makes more sense. Corrupted, dirty, definitely not for kids. Okay, cool. I like it. I'm on board. There is the Discord once again, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to join up and catch up with any of us, we have a nice little streaming community. We have a bunch of different people on that streaming community. I'm just going to turn this. There we go. Yeah, we have a few different streamers who hang out there. We do occasionally, not always, but we do occasional Friday night drinks where we just kind of chill and chat and sort of vibe. And then we also have our various streams, of which we do a few of them together. So we will stream games and stuff that are multiplayer together. And then we also do our individual streams, which is cool. So Tuesdays, we are doing Pokemon runs. Me and Cognitive Bard, and then we have a whole bunch of streamy friends who do like Valheim, or our Thursdays are usually like sandbox survivals, so we'll do like random sandboxy type games, open world type things that we can kind of explore and build and do strange things in. But we've also played a bit of like GTA, Sea of Thieves, Minecraft. I have also played some RimWorld and some indie games on the channel. I've also played some things like Darkest Dungeon and what else? Book of Travels, Black Book. I think that's it. There's a few other games that I want to play on the channel, but we just haven't gotten a chance to yet. I want to do a Borderlands run, do all of the Borderlands games, because I think that would be a good, fun multiplayer with a bunch of friends. But we haven't gotten around to that yet. And then yeah, in October, Spooptober, we do Diablo. We're currently playing through. Oh no, we've just finished Diablo 2. So next it'll be Diablo 3, I believe, unless we're going to continue trying to do the Nightmare run. Nightmare in Hell mode. And then aparting from that, I also do art challenges. So throughout the year, there are different art challenges that I am a part of. I recommend anybody who enjoys art to join up and get into it. I do Fungury, which is all through February. We do fungal-based artworks. and then I do Drawtober, which is like a drawing prompt thing, inspired by, I guess you would say, Inktober. So if you're a fan of illustration and drawing, we do art prompts all through October, and we do them through February as well. So if that's a thing you're keen on, you can give it a look, join in, all that good stuff. How's the music going? We're not quite at the end yet. Still kicking on. You'll leave that up to me? Cool. Well, yeah, we've got to figure out one way or the other what we want to do for it. I feel like we should probably finish it and try and get through the difficulty levels. But we did skip over Diablo 1 because we'd already done it, so, or at least I'd already played it, but I hadn't played it on like the hardest difficulties or anything, so I don't know how we want to do, or if we want to just jump to 3 and then try and finish that quickly so that we can jump to 4 and do 4 now that that's out. There's been lots of fuss and lots of love for Diablo 4. Quite a few people who are loving it, quite a few people who are unhappy with certain things, so, you know, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. You were planning on doing the same for Borderlands Run. You don't have the Tales games or Tiny Tina's Wonderland, but you have 1 through 3. Yeah, so I have, I don't have the Tales of the Borderlands, but I do have Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and I do have 1 through 3. So we're going to play 1 through 3, basically. And see how we go from there, I think, was kind of the plan. But that's the thing. One character's a demon, Moth Succubus. Interesting. Named Astral. And his demon name is... Oh, I can't read that. I can't read Hebrew. Come on now. Shefetz Zima, which means desire of lust. Interesting. Yes, we are very slow. We slowly make our way through the various things. We've been playing the same Pokemon game forever. This stream is sponsored by Lizzie Bell. There won't be much jumping. Yeah, pretty much. D4 is a really good game. There's a ridiculous price for cosmetics. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't have an issue with cosmetics being expensive. I have an issue with, like, pay to win or pay to play. That's a problem. That was the issue with Immortal. But if it's purely cosmetic and that's where the cost is, I don't have an issue with that. I don't think that's a problem. As long as it doesn't affect the gameplay, you're fine with high prices. Those games mainly gets their money through whales, aka high spenders. Yes, exactly. And I would agree with that. As long as it is purely cosmetic in nature, I don't mind if it's more expensive to have the cool looking thing. The moment it starts becoming like you get, you know, more stats via paying for something, or you have to like pay to get into a particular location, that's when I start being annoyed by these sorts of things, because then it's no longer about, like, you haven't bought a full game. If you're having to pay to get through it, or you're having to pay so that you don't have to grind your ass off just so that you can get enough stats to, like, be comparable to someone else, that that then is particularly shitty practice, and I don't think it makes for good games. I really dislike that in gaming design, and unfortunately, there are a lot of games that have been going that way. So if it's purely cosmetic in nature, I don't have any issue with that. They've got to make their money somehow. That's a reasonable way to make the money. So you see D4 as a really good follow-up to the main series, significantly better than 3. Yeah, good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it's ticking the boxes. Main game is Destiny. You loved what they did there with the pre-release season. I don't know a whole bunch about Destiny, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people who love it, who are all about that life, but I myself am not. Can I get this to focus any better? Try to make it so you guys can see this better. That's a little better. We were losing a lot of the color and a lot of the detail, so I just want to... The other thing I could do is actually pull it up a little higher. You guys would be able to see it a little bit better, but for now, I think it's probably okay where it is. Well, there is some grinding if you're into the ladder stuff, but that's a choice in game style. Yeah. I mean, anybody who's getting into the ladder is already going to be spending a significant amount of time on it, but like, yeah, I think there is an aspect of like it should be about your skill in the game and not necessarily that you paid enough money to be better than someone else. I think that's a particularly shitty practice in game making and game design, because then the people who play it won't want to hang around because they'll just keep getting shit on by whales, and they tend to be shitty whales as well. You paid $100 to get the season weapon a week early, and all the season passes. The only issue was the weapon was blocked from all activities. That sounds concern. D4 isn't PvP oriented. Yeah, exactly. But even having said that, like, there are certain things that like would be potentially locked off to you, because I know that there are like world events and stuff like that that are like harder because it's based on what your character's level is, and then it's bumped up for like certain dungeons and certain things. And so if you could, because I don't know if this is the case, and I don't believe it is, but if you could pay for better weapons and tools and stuff, you'd be able to get through those things easier and then have access to even better weapons and tools and, blah, blah, blah. So, given that something is scaling specifically to your level, if you can go past that level via your gear and you can pay to get the better gear, then that potentially is creating a system whereby you're kind of destroying that a little, or like, making an uneven playing field in that situation. And then, if that's the case, because as soon as that is the case in game design, you have to make it a challenge for the people who now have overpowered weapons, and so then you have to create things that balance the game in such a way that regular people will then be kicked out of whatever the thing is. So the areas or the raids or whatever it happens to be get harder and harder because you have to make it interesting for the whales. You have to then, have a reason for them to have this overpowered gear. So then you have to throw, monsters and shit at them that are way harder than it would be for everybody else. And then, that creates an imbalance. People then can't just pick up and play the game and do that thing because they, wouldn't have access to the gear. Anyway. Rant over. Or paused, potentially. Da-da-da-da. There are areas that are harder. You can attempt them before you're ready. You'll get shat on. Yeah. Areas you can decide. Souls players be like, I'll stay right here. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I have no issue with there being like a challenge, like being. I think the idea that like the world scales to your level specifically is a really good system, because it means that you're more likely to have like repeatability in gameplay, and it's always going to be at least a bit of a challenge, but it's not going to be prohibitively difficult. Because if something is going to be like, you know, for someone else it's going to be level 60, but for you it's going to be level 30 because you're level 30 and they're level 60, and so you can both experience the content regardless, and it's going to be difficult for both of you. It'll be a challenge for both of you, but it won't be like killing you, unless that's the purpose of it. But then, you know, that's good game design. But that has to be balanced well, and the balancing nature of it is difficult when your tools augment your skills and your stats without augmenting your level. So putting on particular armor doesn't increase your level, and that's potentially a problem for balancing, especially for situations in which you can buy those armors. It's not the case, I don't believe, in D4, but it was in Immortal. And that's why people disliked Immortal so much, and why it was such a problem in terms of game design. It's also been a thing in other MMORPGs. And, you know, they have had their, you know, issues or difficulties or successes, you know, based on those things, so, you know. You like difficulties in games, but you also like roguelikes. Roguelikes are fun. I mean, I enjoy the idea of a roguelike. Challenges like no death or no hit runs. Currently doing an extreme hard mode run in Cult of the Lamb. I like Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb is a good game. You love Souls games purely because the idea is this boss is too difficult. No, I'm not good enough. Yeah. It's not my style of game. I'm not a Souls type of player. That's not a thing I enjoy. I don't like playing the same thing 100 times because I couldn't beat it the first time. That I don't have any. I don't find fun in that necessarily. I've only got so many hours in the day. I don't want to play the same thing 100 times. But by the same token, I also greatly dislike games that are like, okay, well, you didn't get it this time. You came to an area, like the next area or whatever, is now like super over leveled for you, so you now have to grind like 1,000 hours so that you can get the gear to be able to do this section properly or whatever. I dislike that as a thing as well. That rubs me the wrong way also. I have a lot of issues with with games, if you can't tell. I'm old and games are bad. Yeah. And it's not like other people don't enjoy it and aren't allowed to enjoy it. I think there is a reason why Dark Souls type games exist, and like World of Warcraft and all that kind of stuff. Like those games exist for a reason, and I recognize that it's just not for me. Destiny is another good example. I don't understand why someone will want to go through the effort of grinding through Destiny. It's not the kind of game that I would want to play necessarily. But I recognize other people would, and I'm totally for them being able to play it. I think there are some issues around, like, game balancing, and like, just being, you know, games that are purely like money grabs. I dislike that because I think that's disingenuous and shitty to the audience themselves, even people who you know like the genre. But I have absolutely no issue with well done games in areas that I don't play. In the same vein of like horror games, I don't play horror games. I don't enjoy them, but I appreciate that horror games exist because I know people who are really into horror and really into being scared, and so it's awesome that they have that ability, that they have that thing available to them, and I'm super pro that as a thing. Like cater to a niche is a super good idea. All right, how are we doing? This is coming along nicely. I think it probably will need a couple of passes over, but it's a good first go, I think, of this one. So I'll probably post it, and then I might go and like finish it up later. Make it a little nicer later on. Add some more detail and stuff into it. But I'm pretty happy with where it is. I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. And we'll move on to the next artwork shortly. Just gonna clean some of this up a little. Fun fact: you're not even into shooter games. Only Destiny as a shooter, which you really enjoy, and the community is really nice. Oh, that's good. I have heard mixed things about the Destiny community, I'll be honest. I know a few Destiny players, and I know that they are nice people, but I have also heard some quite toxic things from Destiny type people, and yeah, so it can be a difficult thing. But like with any community, there are you know, there are your bad actors and then your good actors in any situation. So it's not fair to judge the whole community based on the actions of a few. You're really nice. When you started and you asked for help, a lot of people helped you running through the difficult stuff. Most of them were like, no, get the good stuff you can carry. Okay, good. Yeah, that's always a good thing when people are encourage new players and then like don't take advantage of them, or specifically like try to carry them through situations, like try and go out of their way to make things better for newer players. That's pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of that as a thing in communities. Just because it can be like, there are so many stories of like gatekeepers in places, and I understand the need for gatekeeping sometimes, or the reasoning behind gatekeeping sometimes, but it does come across as just a fairly shitty practice. So it's nice when that's not the case. There's the in-game community joke of touch grass. Yeah, touch grass is a pretty universal one, and very important, I would say. The idea of go and touch grass is good. Is super good. More people should touch grass. You're going to go to bed. This has been incredible. You haven't been this motivated in a very long time. You appreciate it greatly. You join the Discord and post some art before you sleep. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Super appreciate you being here. I'm glad that you have been motivated by me and by our lovely little community, feel free to post whatever you like in the art chat, as long as it is your own work, and as long as it's like relatively what's the word I'm looking for? Just use common sense if you're posting something. Like 18 plus server, so you know if it's nude or if it's like violent, you know, that's fine. Just make sure that you're a little careful with it, that you're not like posting anything too extreme, and nothing hateful. But other than that, you know, go for your life. Post art. We'd love to see art in there. There's a whole bunch of other channels that are all, you know, called various different things. Post the various different things that you like in there. Pets, games, blah, 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 whatever. Memes. All good. Yeah, super awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Glad you enjoyed it. Sleep well. You bought the touch grass emote so that you can touch grass in the game. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I used to have a friend who would bring a little bag of herbs around, just like a random assortment of herbs, so that they could, whenever they, you know, were having a particularly tough moment, they could just reach into their little bag and just touch some grass, touch some herb. Touch nature. I always thought that was super adorable of them. So, you know, I'm very on board with the touch grass concept. I think more people need to touch grass. More people need to get in touch with nature. I'm a big fan of moss. More people should touch moss. I'm just gonna rip through this white pencil, honestly. Like, I'm gonna have to buy replacements just for the white pencil, I think. Because I use it as a blending tool. I really shouldn't, but I do. That's something you would do. You gotta go to the grocery. Okay, enjoy. I hope you find all the things that you need while you are there. Enjoy. We'll still be here for, at least another hour or so, I think. We're going to finish off this artwork. We'll start on this one and hopefully get it finished. The second one should be quicker. I won't need to color it, so we'll be able to get through that one quicker, I think. And then we'll see if we can start on the fine line pin-up. Do some sexy mushrooms. This is a very suddenly rocky vibe going on here that I was not expecting. I don't dislike it, but it is just very rock all of a sudden. Alright, that looks good. I'm happy with that. I think. There are a couple of small bits here that I want to just clean up, and then we'll move on to the next one. But this is looking good. What have you just spammed on my screen there? Oh, lick rocks. Very good. I just saw a sudden explosion of things on the screen, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? But hey, if it's licking rocks, that I can get behind. Touch grass, lick rocks? Cool, cool, cool. All right, next one. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I think that's turned out pretty well. There's definitely some things that I could improve, that I could enhance a bit. I can actually see one right now, which I'm going to fix up right this second. If I can get this fucking thing out. Come on. Come on, you bastard. There we go. There we go. Isn't this always the way? Said it was finished and then continued to work on it. Alright. That is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll move on to the next one. This one is going to be like a Gothica black and grey style artwork. So we'll work on this. I think I liked the idea of the vine thing that I had going on, so I'm just gonna rough out the shape, and then we'll work out from there exactly how we're gonna do this. Because I think I want to do a little bit more of a simple style design, a little bit more of that kind of like traditional tattoo work. I do have an image I have saved here that is the vibe that I was going for. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, alright. So, a little simplified is what we're going for, but not too simplified. I think is the vibe. A happy middle of almost almost neo-traditional. Not quite, but almost that vibe, I think, is the way we're going to go with it. We are still following this general design, the same as all the others. Because the trick here is going to be that they all match in the reference imagery. I think we take a bigger chunk out here. There we go. That's better. Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm trying. Trying to get better. Trying to do better every day. And we're getting there. Little by little. Is that too much? I think that's too much. It's the morally right thing to do. It is! Doing better, little by little, is the right thing to do. Little improvements. Just like eating the rich. Is it? Probably. Probably the right thing to eat the rich. I don't know that I actually believe that. But it's funny. And you can't go wrong with funny. Alright, we've moved on to synth pop and indie. Bit of electro. Because why not? Now, should I make this like actual ivy? Probably. Let's yeah, let's do a like a 3-leaf, three prong ivy. I think that makes more sense for this image. Yeah, so my hope is that all of these designs end up being things that people actually want to get tattooed on them. And, like, I think they will be. It's always striking that balance of what I would like to see versus what I think a client would actually be interested in, you know, having on themselves. If you had enough real estate on your body, you'd get them all. Yeah, fair. Fair point. And honestly, the other thing as well is that, like, I sort of have to keep in mind for myself is that a lot of these designs, while they may not necessarily fully appeal to me, they will appeal to someone. There will be someone out there who wants to get these tattooed, for sure, 100%. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Because people get ridiculous shit tattooed on them, so there's not a chance that someone doesn't see one of these and be like, oh yeah, that's it, that's the tattoo I've been looking for this whole time. So, you know, I'm not super worried, but at the same time, I am mindful that I have to, like, try and make sure that they are a thing that a client will want, that someone out there will want. This is for a client wears a pocket watch and the roses. Hey, look, if it doesn't have someone's name on it, if it doesn't have Shazza written somewhere. Now you want a tattoo that just reads ridiculous shit? Yeah. So outsider art or ignorant art style in tattooing is exactly that. The whole thing is basically just like, you know, you taking this too seriously is stupid and shit, and so I'm going to make fun of the entire art style via, like, not trying. Via making it look silly. And so I have designs, actually, somewhere. I don't remember where I put my fucking book. But basically, I've got ones that like is like life's shit, and then it's a toilet roll, or I'm indestructible, and it's like an old Nokia style brick phone. I reckon those will actually do sort of surprisingly well. Given the nature of these things. Good human people like crazy ink. Yeah, exactly. Peachy's a prime example with her hentai tentacles and a Danny DeVito tattoo. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was saying about the like risque sexy tattoos as well, the kind of the a little bit more cheeky ones, that like there are definitely certain people who are just going to be like, yeah, that's good, that's fine, like no issue, and then there's other people who are going to be like, I don't know how I feel, like I'm not sure I'm super comfortable with a guy doing that because it's creepy, but like there's a lot of people who would be super into it and it just be like fine and not an issue. So it's striking that balance, I think, is the key. This is not turned out as very gothic. It's not as very gothy as I was originally hoping for. I think the vines actually detract from the gothiness of it. So I'm trying to think whether I take them out. And then what I do with this image. Literally having her niece's first art of a little potato people. Yeah. It's not gothy yet. Yeah, exactly. I think if I get rid of the vine, it will actually goth this up a little bit more. Lovecraftian at the moment. This is Lovecraftian. The one on the left sure is, but this one in the back that we're working on. This is an electric eraser. Yes, it is. I love my electric eraser. It's awesome. Let's get rid of. Get rid of all this. It's not gothy yet because it hasn't been colored. It's not gonna be colored. It's just gonna be inked, which is why it needs, why the design needs to stand out as being gothy, basically. Subtle black and white stippling on the stem, so that it looks like it's part of the mushroom. Yeah, something like that. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for, to make it, like, not necessarily like gothy witchy, but like gothica. The kind of the idea of like gothic in art, witchy in art. But we'll play around. We'll see what we can pull out of this. I mean, that is ironically already looking better. Which is kind of annoying that that's all it takes. Well, you know what they say, less is more. Another thing that would make it more gothy is if it was drooping. Let me see if I can find an example. Yeah, I'm trying to stick very closely to the original design. But yeah, I know kind of what you mean. Like if it was. The other option is I could put a second mushroom in here, one like slightly to the front that is droopy. Or like a spider. It's a bit late now, but you'll find me something. Okay. You find me something, and I'll work on this. Do I want something at the top? I don't think I want anything at the top. I think I just want this. I think that's it. I think that's the artwork. You've DM'd me. Okay. I'll have a look. I might suddenly change my mind and do something entirely different. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I know. I get what you mean with that. But it would then be a different type of mushroom, a different style of mushroom. Cool. Anyway, let's ink this and see how we go. I don't know, man. My brain's frazzling out. I'm losing my mind. Spiders classically got it, but I've already got the webs, yeah. I was thinking of putting like a tiny spider in it, but I didn't want it to be too obvious, too much. I think that would be too much. So we're gonna go with drippy. And webby. And then these leaves on the side, and see if that's enough. I think that should do it. I also like that I've got these like little chunks out of here. I think that's adding to it just a bit. So the fit maybe a very sharp little black widow to contrast the roundness. Yeah, potentially something like that. Because goths are drippy and wet. Yes. Because goths are drippy and... Actually, oh, there you go. That's what it needs. You figured it out for me, Cog. Some spiky bullshit in the back. Just like jagged something. Either from the bottom here, like coming up, or like just in the background. One of the two. That's what it needed. I'll put this in first and then we'll play around with it, because I know at very least I want this to be the foreground. Hey, welcome back. Thorns. Yeah. That'll do. That'll do. I was thinking just like literally spider legs, but thorns work as well. Thorns might be a nice touch. Let's give that a go. See how we go. Oh, I'm struggling. My stomach. If I have to like suddenly jump up and run away, you all know why. My stomach is attacking me. Don't want it to, but it is. I did a stupid. I had chocolate. Milk chocolate, which is potentially an issue. And then, something in the chicken that I made set me off last night, and I have just eaten the same thing again. So it's definitely that. And I think the combination of that plus the chocolate has pinged me. And because I'm an idiot, I just had more of it. Because I'm good like that. But at least I'm learning. I'm learning what sets me off. Slowly, slowly. Via just making myself sick. For those who don't know on the channel, I have IBS. Hey. Because Goths are drippy and wet. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why you're surprised by this. Have you never met a Goth? They're always drippy and wet. At least when I'm around. Huh? I'm a fool. Oh. Oh, my stomach is very unhappy with me. Why? Why? Yeah, it's looking more and more like I'm gonna have to make a run for it. We're struggling. Holding out. Nah. Alright. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Need to see a man about a dog. Enjoy the musical interlude. I have returned. Clipped? What did you clip? What did you clip, sir? Did you clip me falling over? Also, that was unpleasant. Alright. Let's keep going. Keep arting. Keep arting along. I fell over? Yeah, I fell as I was coming into frame. You probably missed it, though. Which I'd say is probably a good thing. For me. That you missed it. It's not what I clipped? Okay. What did you clip then? Hey? You cheeky shit. Hey now, are you getting me in trouble with my wife? You shit. How dare you? Shoulda known. I shoulda known. Alright, unfortunately, with my stomach the way it is at the moment, I'm not sure we're going to make it to the third artwork. I might have been a little bit a little bit hopeful, optimistic, naive, one of the above. With all that, so we'll see what we can do. But I don't think I'm making it that long. I think we're probably gonna have to raid out at some point, just so that I can go and spend some time on the turret. Which is honestly a little disappointing, because I was hoping to get a bit more done this art stream, but that's okay. We'll manage. No, I did. I know. So, yes, I know I did a lot, and I did one artwork really well. So that's really good, and we're about to do another one. I will finish this other one, but I was hoping to do a third and potentially a fourth, and while it's not quite midnight yet, we'll probably stop streaming at midnight. I was hoping to go longer than that, just because we've missed a few streams, and I wanted to make up for it, and I want to get these artworks done, and I don't think I will be able to do that because my stomach will not allow it. But I also recognize that, like, I can't help that, so... Well, I can if I stop eating the stuff I'm not supposed to, but... Never! It's self-inflicted, don't feel bad for me. This is entirely self-inflicted. I made Goth sweat and moist. Made new friends. I fell over. It's so many achievements. Yeah, I should have a stream achievement. That's what I should have. I should have stream achievements that just, like, appear on the screen when I do a stupid. Ba, 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 da, ba, da, ba, ba. Okay, that was pretty good. Now what I was thinking was somewhere from, like, back here, just like a bunch of fucking spider legs. Like, clearly way more than a spider would need. But I don't know if that reads. I don't know if that tracks with what we're going for. I'm gonna rub the rest of this up and see how we're going. Because it might not need it, realistically. It might just need a little bit of like... Yeah, I'm not sure that adds significantly to what we're trying to make here. I think we just do the shading. I think that's what we do. We just put in the shading. So let's get some black and maybe a couple of grays. Fuck. Alright. Yeah, and we'll do this one, we'll upload it. And then I don't know, we'll see how we go. If we feel like this isn't enough, I might do some more art. I don't know, maybe tomorrow's. I know it's hard. It's Yule tomorrow, like astrological Yule. So I'm gonna be a little busy fussing for that, doing things for that. Which will be good. Which will be awesome. But it means I will be a little busy, so I'll be a little distracted. And we're busy again over the weekend. I'm gonna be busy next weekend. It's gonna be a big one. Next couple of weeks. Now that I think about it. This weekend we're down in Sydney. Next weekend we're down in Melbourne. So we're not really getting a chance for a break anytime soon. Which is probably fine. Mindful that I won't have a whole lot of time to be doing art is the only issue there. So potentially what I could put in here, though I'm not sure, I'm not really sold on it just yet, is I could put a little bit of like red highlight, just like a single section of red, or just like, I don't know, maybe the dots, but then that really changes it out of the like black and grey style to kind of accented highlight, and I don't know how I necessarily feel about that just yet. One of the other styles that I wanted to do was trash polka for this. Not for this one in particular, but for you know, one of the future mushroom designs. I think that will be an interesting one when I do that. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, I think I need to go in a little darker here to differentiate things just a little bit more. Hope everybody is having a wonderful evening, or morning, or whatever it is for you. If you are, feel free to tell us in the chat what's got you vibing so well. If you're not, feel free to tell us in the chat, and if you want to have a chat about it, we can. See if we can try and fix some of the things, but only if you feel up to it. No pressure. No stress. That ain't looking bad. Alright. That looks pretty good. Do I have... Do I have a blending tool nearby, handy? I do! We might just try and use a blending tool just briefly on this stuff. Come on. There we go. Just ever so slightly. Just want to take a little bit of the edge off some of this. Try and blend it back into itself just a little. That way we get a smoother gradient between the different shades, and we don't end up with these little white patches in between the colour. Which is a sort of an artifact of the texture on the page, so it's not a huge issue, because that's sort of just how the artwork works, but blending back at least some of it makes the image look a little cleaner, so we might as well. More consistent coverage. Alright, coolio. I'll scan these in and then we can raid-do into someone. Unfortunately, the cognitive beard is not streaming, so we can't raid into him. Hi, Tia. Alright, we've only got one page to scan, so this should be pretty quick. Turn it up the other way. Have a look at a black box for a short while. Where's me scanner? There it is. Try and save as much as this as possible. And then scan. Whoop. Scan. Then once we've scanned it, we can chuck it into Critter, do a little bit of cropping. Shouldn't need more than that. I wouldn't have thought it would need much photo editing, fixing up filters or anything like that. Tia, do you need to go out? You alright? Yeah, hello. Hello, my daughter. So we'll fix these up, then we'll post them on Instagram, and then we can read out. Hi, my daughter. Almost done scanning. Ugh. Perfect. Alright, let's have a look at that. Did it did scan, it did well. Cool, we'll chuck it in. Oop, we'll chuck it in Critter. Close the scanner, close that. Very 80s synth pop going on. We're listening to Let Us Drive by Elijah N. I'll dig it. Alright. What was the naming convention I was using for this last time? Did I have it in tattoo designs? Under Flash? I did have it under Flash. And I was calling them by the Surrealism. Mush. Design. Cool. Okay, so there's surrealism done. And then we'll crop out come on. Fucking computer. And this is Gothica. Gothica black and grey. Mush design. Cool. And then I'll send those to myself. We'll be able to put them on to the Instagrams. The Instamagrams. Surrealism done. Black and white Gothica. And while that's going, we can have a look who we're going to raid into. We're just going to do another vibe check before we go. 88. Hey, there we go. That's what we like to see. We got the vibe up from 30 to 88. Oh! And Gingy Beer is still streaming. So let's raid into Gingy Beer. She's been streaming for 4 hours now, so her artwork is basically done. But we'll finish our things, get everything ready to go, and then we'll do that. Hope everybody has had a good evening, and you've enjoyed the stream so far. If I go post to other apps, copy all of this. Select all. Copy. We're almost ready to raid out. Okay. Cool. Send those to myself. Save them onto my phone. So I can then upload them better to... This is one of the things that annoys me about Instagram. It's like, how do I best say this? It is not very intuitive, and it's not very well managed as a UI for PC, whereas on mobile it's a much better system. So on PC it doesn't give you all of the like quality controls, whereas on phone it does. So you can really like zoom in and do all of the like nitpicking, basically. Okay, that's one. And let's do surrealism. Okay. Post that. And let's get to raid-a-lading. So, if you are subscribed to me, ladies and gentlemen, you can copy my little raidy-do. Raid. Our little mushy wiggles and our bees. If you're not, then just give Gingy Beer some love from us. And we will catch you probably tomorrow. We're probably going to be doing a Valheim or something stream tomorrow. If the peeps aren't available, we might do art streams instead. But we'll see how we go. Ideally, we will be able to do all of the things. I don't know. We'll play the game or we'll do the something. We'll do a something, which would be nice. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week. Awesome. Bye, everybody.